Congressman Walsh, always great to talk to you.
Wonderful to be with you, Ginny.
You're saying, like so many others, enough is enough. And I know you met with Congressman Issa, urging him to move forward with contempt charges against the Attorney General. Did Congressman Issa seem to have that same sense of urgency that now is the time?
Well, look, this isn't easy for Congressman Issa. You want this? I mean, a contempt citation is a serious step. Holding someone in contempt of Congress is a really big deal, and you only want to go there if you have to. And I think that's where the congressman, where Mr. Issa finds himself. I mean, this has been over a year, and we are just not getting any cooperation from Eric Holder, and we're almost to the point, and I guess my plea to my chairman, Mr. Issa, today was we're past the point now where we have any other option but to formally hold him in contempt and have the House take that vote.
And I know Congressman Issa has made very clear to Holder, if you would just start complying, give us the documents we're asking for, we could avoid all of this. But what do you think the odds are, really, that you're going to see any kind of change, any kind of cooperation with the DOJ?
Well, we all say it, so I'll say it. I hope that they reconsider, and I hope that sometime very soon Mr. Holder has an awakening and will cooperate. Do I think it'll happen? No, because it would have happened by now, Ginny. And it's just, it really begs the question why. It's so easy for them to cooperate and provide documents. Why have they held 90% of the documents we've requested? What are they hiding? Why are they stonewalling? Their behavior has forced us to ask those questions.
And it's so true because Holder has already told the House Judiciary Committee that when it comes to any more documents, any documents created after February 4th, and we all know about the February 4th infamous letter, that they're not going to be getting any more.
You're right. Again, so we're at the point now where Holder has basically said, take a hike, we're not going to cooperate. I mean, there's basic information that we need to know. What high-ranking officials knew what? When did they know it? And why did justice, change its view from denying that gun walking even occurred to acknowledging that Fast and Furious was fundamentally flawed? I keep coming back to this, Jenny. We have a Border Patrol agent, Brian Terry, who's dead. His family deserves answers. The whistleblowers deserve some vindication, and the American people deserve accountability. I don't know what Holder's hiding, but he's hiding something.
And that is so true. I mean, and that's all that, the Terry family says, we just want to know the truth. But you've also, got these thousands of guns that are still out there.
Yeah.
And, this report just came out, and we're finding that, according to a new report by the House Oversight Committee, that 3 months into Fast and Furious, El Paso emerged as an important firearms smuggling center for the Sinaloa drug cartel.
Yeah. It's mind-boggling. I mean, there are up over 127 House members who've called for Holder to step down. And we haven't really begun to get down into the weeds, to really look at some of these outlandish details of what was a fatally flawed program. And it still amazes me, Jenny, that he's been in front of our committee a couple times. He seems to show no remorse for what happened and very little interest in cooperating.
And no interest in holding anybody accountable.
None.
Yep.
None. A year some later, nobody's been held accountable, and he's basically putting off Congress. And so I go back to where we started.
Right.
This is clearly a step that Issa does not want to have to take, but he has no other option. And I just felt compelled to formally write my chairman today and say, we're past that point.
And I know when I was talking with Representative Paul Gosar last week, he was talking about holding a special order on the House floor, and apparently that's going to happen tomorrow night.
I believe it's going to happen tomorrow night. And again, this goes on all the time. It's a great way for members of the House to go on the floor and voice their concerns about certain issues. There will be a number of House members who take to the floor tomorrow night, Wednesday night, and voice their concerns with where we are at in Fast and Furious. Ginny, you and I have said this before. so help me God, if this were President Bush, you know what the media would be doing right now. They would have demanded an investigation a year ago.
Absolutely.
But we protect this guy, we protect this president, and we're past that point.
Yeah. Do you plan to participate tomorrow night?
I do. I do. There'll be a number of us out doing that.
You think that somebody like Congressman Elijah Cummings will be there as well? Because he's saying, hey, you know what? He's defending Holder. He says they're still producing documents. Where?
Ginny, it really makes you wonder what some of the Democrats on the committee are thinking. It's too bad because it makes it just purely political. Now, I will tell you, there's an Indiana Democrat, Rep. Joe Donnelly, who has come out sometime earlier today, and he supports the House and Mr. Issa and oversight enforcing the subpoena and even, issuing a contempt citation. So there is a Democrat on the committee who has finally come out and said, enough's enough.
And do you think you have the support of House Speaker Boehner on this?
Oh, I think there's no doubt that leadership is where Mr. Issa is. They are at the point where this is a step we all like to avoid because it's very serious. But I have no doubt that they'll be supportive once we do what we have to do.
And, there are some in the legal community, they're out there saying, that they're predicting there's probably no chance that a contempt citation will ever be pursued because it has to go through Holder.
Well, it would be something that would come up on the floor. The floor would have to approve it. It would have to pass out of the House. And then my understanding is it would then go to the federal courts to be enforced.
Okay.
And so, again, then you're entering into a very serious realm. I mean, it's basically, Ginny, a resolution that the House would issue holding him in contempt, and then the federal courts enforce that contempt citation. And then he has to cooperate with, our original subpoena of October 2011. And let's hope that even if a contempt citation is issued or is approved by the House, that then again Holder gets religion and realizes he's got to cooperate.
And you're talking about Representative Joe Donnelly saying, hey, he supports it, he's a Democrat.
Yes.
You wonder how many more changes we're going to see. Because I think people are very concerned about what they're seeing within this administration, not just with Fast and Furious, but with one scandal after another. I mean, is this the way they operate?
Oh, you're right. When I go home, we get asked questions all the time about Fast and Furious, Solyndra, all these executive orders, you name it. There's not enough time in the day to investigate, for Congress to investigate all the, let me just say this, all the different ways that this president and this administration have stepped all over the Constitution of this land.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to matter to them. It's unbelievable, but that's why we got an election coming up and people got to make their voices
Well, we do,
heard.
and I think, Ginny, I could be wrong, but I think Mitt Romney, our presumptive nominee, I think he's come out and even demanded that Holder
Yes,
resign.
he has. He
Okay,
has.
That's a great step because, again, this goes, you and I know, this is the most anti-gun administration that I can ever remember. And I still believe, and I think a lot of us believe, the very genesis of Fast and Furious was an attack on Americans' ability to own and secure arms. And I think that will come out once this is investigated.
And it goes back to what you said. They really have left you no other choice. All you're saying is answer our questions, give us the documents, work with us. But it seems like they really do have something to hide if they won't do what seems to be so easy to do.
So it doesn't make sense. So clearly even a fifth grader would say, I think he's hiding something.
Yeah.
He's protecting someone. What's he hiding and who's he protecting? Otherwise, you're right, Ginny, it makes no sense for them not to cooperate.
All righty, Congressman, always good to talk to you. We'll see what happens tomorrow on the floor.
Thanks, Ginny. You fire me up. Every time I'm with you, I get fired up.
Well, hey, that's because you're fighting a fight, and we need people like you out there fighting that fight.
Thank you, my dear. Talk
Thanks.
to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.